Hi guys, my name is Sonali and welcome back to my channel, The Happiness Company. We've been talking about habits, and it might not be an exaggeration to say that you are, what your habits are. Have you ever thought that why some people are able to adopt a healthier lifestyle or realize professional achievement faster? You know, there is a big reason behind it, and it's all connected back to our habits. Author Charles Duhigg explains this in his book, The Power of Habits, and also discusses in detail and how they learn to sort of change their habits. The book, Power of Habits by Charles Duhigg, is a complete and a thorough examination of several case studies and shows us how habit formation and habit change impacts our day-to-day life. It details the experience of individuals, corporations, and organizations to illustrate how habits are formed and why habits are formed. How can you change your habits? How habits impact or are used rather to attract customers. In a lot of ways, habits can completely define your success. And some of the poorly managed habits can devastate your business. It can spoil your entire life's earnings. Let's understand how habits work, and once you understand how habits work, you will be very efficiently be able to control the outcome of these habits. Habits go deep inside our brain. It's completely wired into how a human mind functions, and it impacts our life in a myriad of ways. So let's delve into the world of habits. Let's understand what are habits, how we can use it more efficiently to our advantage. It's such a wonderful capability of our brain to form habits, isn't that? It makes our life easier, but it can also ruin your life if you're not paying enough attention. So the simple formula that the book sort of advocates is, first, to understand the three loops of habit. If you remember, we had discussed it in the past. First, understand that the three steps of the habit loop, cue, routine, and reward, are the basis to determine what an individual does without really knowing about it, without understanding. By analyzing how undesirable habits like overeating or probably binge watching or smoking operate in a particular loop, and how it's operated by cravings. People who want to bring about change can actually do that. Once you understand how this works, once you are able to get a hold of understanding what is the craving that's sort of triggering this habit. So people who want to sort of change their habits can control their habits in this way. After understanding and analyzing their cravings, they can develop good habits. If I go by definition, habit is an action that's deliberately performed by an individual once and continues to perform the same action without much focus. The way humans are wired, our brain is sort of developed in a way, the brain functions in a way that it focuses on conserving more energy. And that is why, if you have noticed, while we are driving a car, we are not really focusing on it. We are thinking about some other things, some really random things, because once you know how to drive and you know what to do while you're driving, it becomes a habit, right? You constantly switch your mind to think something else. So the process of turning sequence of actions into an automated routine is called chunking, and this forms the basis of all the habits. So the evolutionary role of chunking is very clear, and it's sort of crucial because it allows your brain to perform the common task with efficiency and saves a lot of energy. Hence even a complicated task like come driving back from office to your home, in the beginning looks complicated, right? But once you get used to it, it becomes a habit, so you can do it more effortlessly. According to a research paper by a researcher in Duke University, as many as 40% of the tasks that we perform throughout our day are based on habits. Isn't that interesting? Habits are simple CRR loop, the cue, routine and reward loop, which saves a lot of effort. But unfortunately, Duhigg points out in his book that brain does not differentiate between a habit which is good, beneficial, or which is detrimental, and hence it is hard to break a bad habit and also to form a new good habit. But once you understand this CRR loop, you can very easily understand and form new habits, adopt a good ones. All you have to do is pay attention. Don't let your cravings drive your habits. Understand where the cravings are coming from and take an action. Understand the kind of personality you are where you're forming a new habit, and this should be very, very helpful. I will discuss further on this in the next few episodes. Stay tuned.